1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 seconds is all it takes for your body to hit the water when you jump from the Foyle Bridge in my hometown, Derry. In the first second, you feel release. In the second, you feel fear. In the third, most say they have an epiphany of solutions to their issues, whether it be from a job loss to an ongoing depression. In the fourth to seventh, all you feel is regret and wish just one last time that you could stand at the top of that bridge once again. 7 seconds is all it takes for seclusion to lead to death. A mere 7 seconds to put all of your problems into perspective. Just 7 seconds to end your loneliness. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tegan Nesbitt, and I am afraid. Afraid of lots of things, actually. Wasps, spiders, the unknown secrets of the sea, and yes, speaking in front of a live audience. You know, for a few years, I actually used to speak with a really bad murmur, and I couldn't really get out many words, especially when speaking to people who I didn't really know. And even on presentation day, I was shaking like a leaf when someone said, "Can Tegan Nesbitt please come to the stage now?" No chance, absolutely none. But that was up until a year ago. But before I tell you my story, I'd like to tell you Ken's. In the summer of 1985, Ken Baldwin decided to commit the act of suicide. He drove 3 hours from his home to the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco and stood at the top of the bridge. He told his wife he would be home late from work. Ken felt isolated and as if he couldn't express his feelings, but recalls as soon as his body was forced from those bridge railings, he wanted to take it all back. He thought, what am I doing? This is the worst thing that I could possibly do in my entire life, yet here I am. I thought of my wife. I thought of my newborn daughter. Everything in my life that was once totally unfixable was now totally fixable, except having just jumped. Now, Ken here led a life like so many of us. He had a loving family, a loving wife, and a newborn child. So how could Ken, who lived almost the nuclear family life, feel scared? Fear can actually be described as an emotion we feel when faced with a threat of harm or danger. And in Ken's case, this was the harm that new parenthood and being a working homemaker brought to his once such simplistic life. But instead of going out there and talking about his feelings, he processed them alone, or he trapped himself in his own deep, dark thoughts. Now, I often get told that our fears are something that we must conquer ourselves, go out and ride the bike without the stabilizers, but I totally disagree. Because earlier I told you all a few of my fears, but I failed to mention one. From my face and from the picture on the screen, you may be able to tell that there's a bit of a problem with my eyelashes, or should I say, lack of. I suffer from a condition called trichotillomania. I pull out my eyelashes when I'm stressed or scared, and as you can see, I'm starting to look a bit like a human stress ball. But this is actually me in my recovery stage. Now, every single eyelash lost, I call a scar. A scar of waiting in the anticipation of a text back. A scar of watching Snapchat stories of my friends head out for the night, whilst I sat with nothing but a phone in my hand. A scar of my past fear, but not anymore. Now, I cannot help the wondrous, non-existent mental health facilities in Northern Ireland for making me overcome trichomania, nor can I go and thank some doctor who can say that the cure for it lies in his hands, with me being the successful guinea pig. No. I can call these a scar ever since I went to a beautician, who just needed to come those few feet closer to know what was going on. She did something that nobody ever did when she saw. She wasn't afraid, and she didn't just dismiss it. She sat and she listened. She sat and we both shared our experiences and our struggles with anxiety, and I found for the first time in a really, really long time that I maybe wasn't so lonely after all. But at the end of the day, I remember her turning around to me before I left and saying, everybody must love themselves before they love anybody else, and you can't even do that yet. But I want to help. I want you to message me whenever you feel like you want to pull at your eyelashes again because you're stressed, and I will talk you through it. I will talk you through everything, and we can discuss it again. Ever since this day, I have never been more thankful because one girl has made me feel like I have every single other girl out there supporting me too, which wasn't the case for such a long time. Now, with my newfound confidence, I was totally unsure of what to do with it, because walking out of a beautician, I didn't just walk out with brand new brows, I walked out with a brand new set of skills on me. So I just started talking to absolutely anybody who would listen. It just starts when their eyes start shifting from your eyes to the ball lives above them every now and then, but once you move past that, it seems all right. So I started just telling absolutely anybody, yeah, I have trichomania, yeah, saying it as if it was a totally normal passing comment. But after a while, I started learning that my passing comment was starting to lose effect. So I did something else instead. I started public speaking. It all started off with a really, really innocent competition in my town where you had to speak about something that you were passionate or insecure about, and you can bet what I spoke about anyways. And I went up on stage, and I was just so happy that I gave it my best shot after never being able to speak before, and I spoke about this, a condition which I've had for about 4 or 5 years. And I won that day, but I didn't just win a trophy and the prize of Sir Optimist, I won my life back. I'm now the founder of the IMA page on Facebook, which focuses on events that bring our entire city together. I also started the Period Poverty campaign, which was a red bucket appeal where I left red buckets around all different locations around my city in Derry and collected hundreds of sanitary products for Women's Aid. It was a brilliant, brilliant event that brought so many people together. I also was sitting in on cross-party conferences for all over Northwest. I also went and did modelling, which I was told I would never be able to do because of my condition. And I modelled for a shop in my city called Daisy Age Dairy, and the shots have now been featured in the Big List magazine. And finally, my most recent, apart from this achievement, was the Miss Shining Light competition, which is coming up now on the 14th of September. Get your tickets, kids. It raises all of its funds to the local charity Me for Mental, and I think it's such a brilliant cause, and it raises awareness for really low mental health in the pageant world today. Now, this all might seem a bit showy, but at the end of the day, which of these would I have been able to do if I didn't embrace the judgment and fear that I felt once for my condition? None. I turned my biggest fear and shame, which I hid behind a pair of fake eyelashes, into something which has brought some of my biggest achievements to date. Now, that's something that I never thought I would be able to do, and you're probably sitting there as well thinking, that's totally unachievable. But the man who I talked about earlier, Ken Baldwin, did the exact same thing. He, after his experience of jumping the bridge, was actually a survivor and got pulled out, and talked about this experience on the documentary The Jumpers, which I suggest that you all watch. It's very, very interesting. And he now lives to tell the tale, turning his once darkest fear into his brightest message. Now, in my town, we often hear this phrase, someone has jumped the bridge. And we all reply with a sigh and a prayer. But I would like to change that. It has been proved that to conquer our fears, we must be provided with 3 outlets: to be seen, to be heard, and to be valued. The first is to be seen, and that is just merely speaking to someone, whether it be your brother to your beautician, it doesn't matter. And the next thing that I all want you to know is that you must make sure whoever you tell is listening, because we have lost far too many of our citizens to saying, "Up, wise up," to lose some more. Our fears should not be something that we tuck away. Instead, they should be something that should be celebrated. We as individuals deserve better than that. We as communities deserve better than that. We as the human race deserve better than that. So let's demand it. Let's turn these 7 seconds of total terror into 7 seconds of speaking our minds. Start those difficult conversations like our late Lyra McKee. Speak our minds, start up support groups, attend support groups, and just start making a difference, because who knows? We need to stop imagining, like the theme of today, and start doing instead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 seconds is all it takes to share a smile, to start a conversation. Just a mere 7 seconds to save a life. Thank you for listening.